They've set the land on fire rather than give it to us. Set it alight rather than let the powers that be access it and make it their own. We are steady. They're territorialising it. We have staked our claim with ditches, posts and fabric roofs on which we bed down and live. The valley sweeps, and the valley is south-facing, so the valley, its rugged edge, that is a coastline, but inspired by the rugged coast of northeastern Ibiza. Reluctantly ours, we are workers for the public. Our power lies in our ability to down tools and just say no. The powerful ones have failed to make decisions, have reneged on promises to give us our rights. So the message from the top is set fire to this shit. So fires are being lit, sad fires of hopelessness, fires of grief and defiance. This could have been our big chance to make it, to live, to thrive, to forge community, but it's gonna be gone. Lush sweeping valley with ditches and neoclassical structures, having deteriorated by the elements, now frame fragments and echoes of past use by the powerful few, their playground and our future, their folly, our necessity. They want me to say something or be managerial. I say no or shrink back. My actions seem permissive and the others follow, but I am waiting for instructions, can't relax, feel.
At the wedding or before the wedding, in the church, before entering the church, outside, in the rain, everybody speaks the truth. It's been a long time. centres around the mother. Speaking to my mother and my sister. Telling the truth for the first time. Them telling the truth to me for the first time. Telling the truth is destructive. Can't hold it in anymore. She can't hold it in anymore. I ask my sister what her problem with me is. She pouts and stares at me and says, I know. That I know what the problem with me is. My face is close to my mother's face. I'm telling her the truth for the first time. No, she's listening to me for the first time. It feels good. It's offloading. I'm telling her how it is. She's not telling me how it is. I am telling her. It feels good to tell the truth for the first time and be heard. It's destructive to tell the truth. The whole thing is now officially broken. But the tower, but it needed to be broken down. It's taken 36 years to break it down. This toppling down means we can start again. I feel like they don't get it. The truth is destructive. This guy is deceiving everybody. He's Polish, this Polish guy. I was walking down the street with him talking about the beer delivery man, who's also Polish, and the neighbour, the young boy Gracian, who comes to play with my daughter, who is Polish. He seems disinterested. I feel I am being racist somehow. Lumping Polish people together. Not racist, lumping Polish people together. He looks like the Italian man with the English-born Andalusian girlfriend called Eve. She was called Eve. She kept saying why she was called Eve. She was called Eve because she was born on the 24th of December. This guy is deceiving everybody. He isn't who he says he is. He is who he says he is, but that isn't all he is. I think he's killing people, but can't be sure. He's definitely harming his wife and children by virtue of deceiving them. His wife has suspicions and manages to elude him inside the house. He's inside the house in an upstairs room, and she sneaks out from downstairs at the back, and I am with her. We walk across a couple of blocks. We walk to his flat. She knows how to enter it. We climb the wall. We climb the external wall. People can see us. She has a key. We climb 2 flights, but not steps, the wall. She inserts the key and we enter the flat. It's a 1-room studio flat and he is in there. All of the evidence is at hand. He has no care in the world. He looks like this Italian guy, Roberto. What has he done? Some people know what he has done. I walk with him somewhat to freedom because he can walk away. But his children and his wife cannot. They remain forever trapped in his lies. the whole of history has shifted for them. But his wife was suspicious for time. She let things go. She's complicit.
We are never arriving at our destination, which we have come to realise is a mirage. Fear of cancer or the mediated vision of terrorisation, disaster, ever marginalising forces that seem to desire our annihilation. Contamination is multiply displacing, brings into being a perpetual returning vector of fixation, pressing deeper into the boundary of the transition or the in-between, into which embedding is unbearable. Slipping because we are slippery. Our grip on so-called security and so-called reality is fragile enough to be unbearable as opposed to impossible. For the unbearable brings forth the visceral outskirts of the consciousness that in much the same way are auto-marginalised. The unbearable, like the unthinkable, must be articulated. The hard onto possibility as an echo of faith, unsettling our uncomfortable liminality, compels us into negotiations with the real world, from which complete withdrawal is in fact impossible. If the ex-lover is the sign of one's fundamental instability, then they affirm a precarious condition of happiness at the same time, being on the verge of nothing, for they themselves embody irretrievable loss. Deleuze describes Bergson's thesis on delay. The past coexists with the present as it has been. The past is preserved in itself as past in general, non-chronological. At each moment, time splits itself into present and past. Present that passes the past, which is reversed. Husserl distinguishes between reflection, recent past, and recollection, being the past, plus the present. Expression of love that protracts as opposed to contracts, identification, crisis and incorporation are the constituent parts of theorizing radical polyamory that risks its sense of unity, monogamy and community in its preservation, coexistence and corollary celebration and co-emergence, the multiple and the proximity to a broader permeability, disavowed by consensual realism. A gold mine restaurant in Wales, outdoors a security guard mounts the cliff side and plays loud music, dismounts, returns to. The eatery sluices that contain nuggets of gold which people can keep if they find. I'm mainly disentangling gold jewellery, rings and bracelets that are entwined and gradually set free by my finger work. From here I look up every now and again. From here I look up every now and again. From here I look up every now and again. From here I look up every now and again. From here I look up every now and again. From here I look up every now and again. A letter is handed to me. It's from Manuel, and it's sort of confessional, but I already know. On arrival it disappointed. A rocky pathway, strewn with copper-coloured puddles. A rocky pathway strewn. A manned kiosk, yet no entry fee. A manned kiosk, yet no entry fee. A few dog walkers in high visibility vests. But then the vista gradually emerges as we wind our way round the path, and I am overawed by the spectacle ahead. More and more affected by the monumentality of the stone that surrounds us as it emerges jagged and smooth inlets, peaks and troughs, rising up into the pale bright sky, impressing upon me with force the possibility of perpetuity, as if the mountains go on forever, 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 as if the mountains go on forever. There's a sheer drop as I pan right to the sea. As if sliced with a knife. 100 feet, edge, knife, sliced. I am home where I was raised. My dad is coming over. My lover is coming over. I am apologetic. We have managed to avoid this encounter for over 3 years. My throat is raw from shouting, and I turn my attention to Katie, the daughter of my mother's friend, who is cooking and invites us to dine with them. They are all the other familials, bar my father and me. Furious anger erupting from this bound tight body, in short, painful paroxysms, accompanied by growling screams at this woman who has done no wrong, but who is a mirror for an avalanche of self-loathing. An avalanche of self-loathing. An avalanche of self-loathing. An avalanche of self-loathing. When he arrives casual, short and grey, and I like the garden shed, but I can't remember being there. My actual father, I managed to evade him multiple times, arising myself in various obscure fissures of the house, eventually opening the kitchen PVC door to find Sam and Bridget mid-smoke getting high in my garden shed, but I can't remember being there, in the place of a was pond that was transformed into a rockery, 80s style, 80s style. What are you doing here? 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 Infiltrating this past-present unfolding at the site of adolescent anesthesia. I am also glad for my liver that there are allies. I don't remember if he ever did encounter my father. Cansada, tired of being the woman between men, the woman between patriarch and lover. Those figures shall never be faced with one another, my ego states, that these figures ought to know themselves through the other.
In the hotel reception, a black file beside the till contains a roll of money that amounts to £300, and now I don't know how nor why, but the money is in my pocket. On a steep moorland crag redolent of the walk down to White Beach or the walk up to the colder valley tops. On bushland that is dry and squat, where prickly bushes abound and no animal grazes. I am walking with the drummer who speaks few words, and we need to talk about the money and his tour and how I feel. We got out the car together in which we previously sat close together, my mother and her partner in the front, me tense and he silent in the back seat. The hotel is very busy, but we slide into a cancellation. Very exquisite rooms, expensive, everything white, of course. A pool, a bar, drinks in stem glasses. I'm happy to share a room with my sister because my dad is freaking me out. He's everywhere and too close. They're going to find me out. I keep thumbing the roll of 10s and 20s with my fingers. The wad of cash doesn't stay the same. Every time I finger it with my hand, it feels differently formed as an object, thicker or thinner, notes more or less crisp or warm.
The Welsh coastline is nearby. You just walk there. Through these housing estate wide streets, swerving, snaking broadly and lined with semi-detached houses, fronted with gardens, well-tended gardens, very blank, very orderly, but not sterile. You reach the coastline, where the edge is flagged, sharp, descending sharply, no beach, just crystal clear ocean. At the edge, looking down, there's no barrier. And inside the water, crystalline, the clearest water, large sea animals, like dogs, sea lions, smooth, black and white, frolicking. Under the water. The water is so crystal clear, you can see their entire bodies, the sheen, the mermaid edge of their body, forked. As much as I'm enjoying staring at them, it feels like fear. Something frightening. Something to do with where I found myself. Or who I'm with. So when I turn away from the water, I enter a toilet cubicle, the door of which won't close. One can pull it shut, but it just bounces back open. Can't piss. Sitting there with my pants down, but nothing coming out. Hot sweats. A young student standing there at the doorway, saying she can be trusted. That I can trust her, that she will guard the door in spite of it being wide open. I dropped my Apple laptop onto the pissy ground. The whole room is tiled. I dropped my computer onto the pissy tiled floor. Place it there. Sharp intake, still can't piss. Student still standing there, clutching my laptop to my chest. Pulling up my pants, walking out of there. Walking back through the broad, winding streets of the housing estate to the house that I have bought. Not entirely sure where I am. Not entirely sure who is everyone. Everything unfamiliar. Mostly outside the house. A lot of clashing patterns, nothing matches. A lot of work to be done. Nobody to help. What about my new job in the city? How will I get there? How much will it cost? Is it even possible? What have I done? Was it me? I've been wandering the estate for some time. It seems sectioned architecturally, and in one section the houses are grey brick, sort of urban housing, new, contemporary, polished, well thought through. And standing outside one of the houses is the actor who plays Frasier. When I remark that Frasier is there, I have to articulate that I don't mean the Fraser that lives here where we live, who we know in real life. But it's him. It's suggested that he's here in this housing estate by the sea because the fishing is really good. He's got a beard and his hair is unruly. He's sort of dressed like a fisherman, I suppose. Not that I can remember what he was wearing. I can just remember his face, and it's definitely him. But no one seems at all bothered, like the place isn't what I think it is. It's very bleak. a side street in Leeds, where I lived. I was proud that she had set up store there, as I love her music and artwork. I went there on my lunch break from a bar located in a Pennine town, an hour from Leeds. But time was elasticated. The restaurant was oaky smelling, natural tones, wood panels, sparsely furnished. Handsome waitresses with long hair and loose-fitting dresses drifted around chatting in Hungarian, though you have to order at the bar from a non-existent menu. I ordered the chicken, and since there were half a dozen or so customers before me, my meal took an hour to arrive. I ordered tea with soya milk and a Hungarian cake snack to stave off my hunger, however. This meant I was too full for my meal when it came. I asked Rita, who served me, "What is that?" And she described each item on my plate. I am unfamiliar with Hungarian cuisine. "Lovely place," I said, and she smiled and drifted away, while I ate everything doughy or vegetable on my plate. Bundling the roasted chicken into my bag for later. "Great food," I said, "but I have to take the chicken with me. I'm late for work." And then I was in Tokyo, but it all looked distinctly European. I am to meet with a guy who can tell me something interesting about the youth culture, and in particular, a new media outlet that manufactures retro for mass consumption. A British friend is to introduce us, me in a sort of distanciation. I watch him on his bike as he hits the road to the Elephant supermarket on so-and-so square to rendezvous with his friend of his. The fattest media mogul in Tokyo or so, he says. I watch him swing goofily into the car park of the Elephant supermarket, whose logo is a word disturbed by a gigantic smiling yellow emoji. It's a one-storey building that looks like every other. Our meeting takes place in an unmade bed. I was hurriedly sweeping soil from the folds in the sheets when they arrived, silently going over how I will unpack this man's vision. "Sorry," I said as they entered the room, "just sweeping soil." They crouched beside me, unperturbed. I couldn't bring myself to even attempt polite conversation, and launched into a clumsy tirade, or so I hoped, but my words were ineffectual in articulation and effect. His smugness is penetrating. I really ought to claw his eyes out. We started to discuss the year 1995, the year of now. I explained how, without the implementation of his multi-platform vision, the retroactivation of the visual cultural aesthetics of 1995 had occurred by the globalized virtual networks, organically, via real bodies sharing ideas over the internet. "1995, a year I must defend in its originary and appropriated forms. 1995, a rupture in my urgent personality. 1995, adolescence in all its horror, transformation and burgeoning and suppressed sexuality." What happened at the pool? What happened at the pool? What happened at the pool?
What happened at the pool? What happened at the pool? What happened at the pool? What happened at the pool? What happened at the pool? What happened at the pool? What happened at the pool? What happened at the pool? What happened at the pool? What happened? What happened? What happened?